What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the F&G Academy. Buck here from Green Beret, here to help you guys get selected. Alright guys, in this video we're going to talk about a little more of a sensitive topic, but I think that's something that's super important, and it's something that needs a little bit of awareness within our community. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. And that's how to deal with PTSD and how to deal with loss. Some of you guys are already suffering with PTSD, whether you're former soldiers, whether you're special operations or not, police officers, EMS. There's tons of people out there, terrible childhoods, that are dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of you guys are dealing with loss and how to overcome it. And I think that in our community, we have a huge neglect on the topic, on how to cope, signs and symptoms, and things like that. So I just wanted to take a chance to talk about PTSD. Alright guys, before we do, this video is sponsored by 18 Alpha Fitness. Go check out Kevin over at 18 Alpha Fitness if you want to go to special operations, which I highly encourage you to do if that's your calling. It's an amazing career. You need to be physically fit and you need to be physically prepared. There's no one out there better to make that happen than Kevin over at 18 Alpha Fitness. Go check him out. Alright guys, one thing about this community that never gets talked about. We talk about all the cool stuff. We talk about jumping out of planes, war, having fun, hanging out with the boys. There's no doubt that special operations is one of the coolest, funnest careers ever. It's awesome. There's times when you're going to go wreak havoc on the town with your boys and just have a blast. And there's just always so much fun things to do. A lot of times you're getting paid to just have fun, whether that's demo or free fall, whatever it is. Sometimes, courses you'll just be going out to learn how to survive on your own, and you'll do it as a team. You'll do it with your boys. And then going into combat together is an unreal, life-changing experience. So there's no doubt that being a Green Beret, a Navy SEAL, MARSOC is an amazing career choice. It's awesome. I don't know a single special operations person that would look back on their career and say they wish they didn't do it. Everyone loves it. We move on for various reasons. Some of us medically retired. Some of us want different experiences with our lives. But that doesn't take away the fact that they will always remain one of the best things we've ever done. But we still need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the fact that a lot of us deal with loss. I don't know a single Green Beret that hasn't dealt with loss, that hasn't lost a friend or a teammate or a classmate or somebody they knew within the special operations community. Just to put things in perspective, one deployment with group, we lost 3 guys. That's one deployment. And then my senior from the B team, who was also my classmate, who was also a fellow student in the Bravo course, lost him. A Delta, who I graduated the Q course with, got killed in Africa. And this is just a group that have been killed in action. That's not to count suicide and losing friends and teammates and things like that to suicide. We've all experienced it. You can go to any Green Beret, I guarantee you, probably the same with SEALs and the same in the special operations community, and say, raise your hand if you have never lost somebody that you knew or cared about within the community. And I could almost guarantee that nobody would raise their hand. At the same time, we don't talk about how to deal with loss, how to overcome it. What does PTSD look like? How does it affect you? How does it come on? Like, do you just wake up one morning and you're like, I have PTSD? But PTSD needs to be evaluated, needs to be talked about before we get into the special operations community. So if you guys are watching this, part of training, in my opinion, in the Q course should be dealing with loss, PTSD awareness, how to cope. Not after, not let's put them through war, let's have them lose their friends and kill people, and then we'll talk about PTSD if they bring it up. We can't do that. There's a potential that we could prevent suicides by focusing on PTSD before earning your Green Beret or your SEAL Trident instead of after. Because I'm telling you what, typically what's going to happen is guys are going to start developing the symptoms, not realize it, because it's, for me anyway, and from my experience with my friends, it's a slow onset over years and years of trauma. We hit the bottle. We start feeling like crap, or we'll randomly just stare into space, or remember one of our friends, and we get hit in the nuts with it, and so we just have a drink to try and calm our nerves. Or we get bored, and we want to have a drink so we don't have to start thinking too much, because we know that thought eventually is going to start bringing out some dark side of us, some dark sides of the things that we've done and seen, and so we don't want to deal with that. So then we turn to alcohol, which only makes the situation worse, which, as we all know, statistically increases the chances for suicide. So we need to start looking into PTSD, talking about it. It's okay. The thing about PTSD is, yes, we're broken people from the stress. And I say broken, you're like, oh, I'm not broken. Like, you are broken. We're all broken. And I think that's perfectly fine. The hard part is when you don't acknowledge that you have some PTSD and the way it's affecting your life, and then you try to compare yourself to people that have never had the experiences that you have. For example, I can't be in a grocery store on the weekends. People start bumping into me in a grocery store and I want to lose my mind. I think it's extremely disrespectful, and it takes my heart rate to 1,000,000, and I got to get out of there. I have literally left my groceries in the grocery store and walked straight out of the store because I can't be around a lot of crowds. And when people start getting into my personal bubble, I lose my shit. But these are things that we can't just ignore. So I just want to start talking about PTSD a little bit, and the fact that if you want to go into the special operations community, you are going to experience loss. So it's important that you understand how to cope with that, how to deal with that. I'm still figuring out now. That's where the book came up, Rising Above, for me, was the journaling process, dealing with my past, dealing with the loss, and trying to cope with it through writing, which came out to Rising Above. And now I'm continuing to do that because it was so beneficial for me as I'm doing my second book. It's really, the writing process is therapeutic for me. But we have to figure out how to cope with this stuff without just hitting the bottle and hitting drugs or hitting alcohol and then starting that digression into potential suicide or ruining our lives. So I hope that in the Q course, if anyone's watching this from the special operations community, that we could stop and take a look at this. And maybe you've already implemented something like this, but if not, can we implement some PTSD awareness into the qualification course? Can we start getting people aware before they get these issues of what the signs and symptoms are going to look like, how they can cope with it in a positive manner, and how to deal with it after the fact? That would be my biggest suggestion instead of waiting, because honestly, I've never talked about it. I didn't realize how bad it was until I got out, and then the police department just made it worse because a lot of cops are suffering from PTSD. You want to talk about trauma and heightened senses of awareness in a constant state. At least with soldiers, we come back from deployment, but with police officers, it's 365. They're always home. They're always on high alert. Did someone follow you home? Is someone trying to come after you? Do you see someone that you put in jail? Now they're in the store. That heightened sense of awareness is on high all the time. So I know this is kind of a downer topic, but I really think it's important to talk about because, like I said, you guys could be dealing with PTSD in the future if you don't already have it. And if you do already have PTSD, and you're a vet that's experienced some things and you're having a hard time, just know that you're not alone. There's tons of us out there. Reach out. And I know that's kind of like the weird thing to say, reach out, but it helps. I had a buddy reach out recently and just said, dude, I'm just having a hard time. Well, let's talk about it. What's happening? What are you dealing with? I'm having a hard time too. PTSD is difficult. Dealing with trauma is difficult. Dealing with loss is difficult. And unfortunately, you'll be fine, and then it hits you like a ton of bricks out of nowhere. So if you're getting hit like a ton of bricks, reach out to one of your friends who know what you're going through, talk about it, and let's be open about the things that we're dealing with to help each other cope. We need to start seeing these suicide rates come down. We can't see our brothers and sisters that fought for this country come back and end their own lives because we failed to talk about the things that are going on in their heads. And one more thing I forgot to talk about. Explosions. We know that concussions have a huge impact on our brains. I've had hard landings in free fall to the point where I felt like I was out for a couple of seconds and I didn't know if I was going to be able to get back up because I scorpioned on a bad night jump. I've had multiple demo breaches for breaching doors in training, in combat. These are all things that we do regularly. So those explosions, those concussions are having an effect on our brains. We're also dealing with a lot of that stuff. So it's important to understand you have actual physiological and physical changes happening to your body, and it is affecting the way you act, the way you think, and things like that. So just my 2 cents. Just wanted to get that ball rolling. And I hope someone over at SWIC hears this. And if they haven't already, let's start implementing some PTSD training before they get the Green Berets and not just after. All right, guys, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys next time.
And I can't see it clearly, but it's obvious. I know